Let's go, folks. Time for the Gibby Show.
How you doing, baseball fans? And welcome to another edition of the Gibby Show, presented by Miller Lite, the official beer of Major League Baseball and the Gibby Show. I'm John Arezzi, and as always, joining us from San Antonio, Texas, he's the former two-time manager of the Toronto Blue Jays, the beloved skipper of the 2015 and 2016 Jays playoff teams, a member of the 1986 World Champion and New York Mets, co-author of the best-selling book, Gibby Tales of a Baseball Lifer, and narrator of the audio version of that book. He's the star of the Gibby Show, a true baseball lifer himself, Mr. John Gibbons. Gibby, how you doing?
Johnny, doing good as usual, man. We're just kind of wrapping up the old baseball year here, but there's still a lot going on, and we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, it seems like, down there in Texas, obviously, celebration, 2023 World Champions, the Texas Rangers. But it seems like even though that excitement of the World Series, now we get into the offseason, the hot stove league, where there's rumors every day, and we're going to go into all of that with you today on the show. But I did want to ask you, you continue to be a social media darling. I mean, this week you did a Q&A on Reddit. I mean, how did that go? You had a lot of people asking you questions on that platform.
Yeah. I guess people were bored or something, huh?
But I was like, Gibby's on Reddit. Look at this.
I had to ask him, what's Reddit? And then, no, it was fun. They came on there. Yeah, my typing was a little slow, on my phone, but I got the info out there. But yeah, it was I guess it's just another way of getting info and just getting out there and connecting with your fans.
And let me ask you something. A couple of years ago, would you have ever thought in your wildest reality or dreams that you'd be Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Reddit? I mean, would you have ever thought that this would be you?
No. No. It was funny back when I was managing at the end, when social media started coming along, there was always, the teams would always have meetings during spring training about, hey, you got to be careful on social media, what you say out there, you represent the organization, this and that. And so you always looked at social media as kind of a bad thing, kind of be careful, boys, it gets you in trouble. But now, now you really can't exist without being on social media. And I've had some fun with it. It's really helped our show out.
Yeah, it certainly has. You got a big following on all of your platforms.
All my kids, like every kid out there is into it. So it helps me stay connected with them too, I guess. I don't have to use the phone anymore.
There you go. Just go on social media or tweet something or whatever. But yeah, that's kind of cool, John. I mean, knowing you for as long as I have, I never thought I'd see the day, but it's here, and you're doing really well and have a huge following on all of them, man.
Well, I can't say I haven't figured out myself. So I have to get a lot of help with getting on those sites or whatever, So
we all do.
I'm I'm proud of that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the 2023 World Series is now over. Texas Rangers beat the NL champion Arizona Diamondbacks, beating them in 5 games. We'll discuss that on today's show. Also, as we mentioned, the Hot Stove League is kicked off with a flurry of free agent filings, and the rumors have already started. We'll talk about that, include the Blue Jays news and rumors of the week as well, and later on another great Gabbing with Gibby, brought to you by Tim Hortons, we'll bring on former Blue Jay and current player development executive for the Diamondbacks, Orlando Hudson. And then, inspired by our friends at Miller Lite, we'll have another roast and toast. But let's get right into it with this week's leadoff. Well, they set a Major League record by winning all 11 games in the postseason on the road. That's a crazy historic accomplishment. Won the first World Series title in franchise history. The Texas Rangers are the 2023 Major League Baseball World Champions, beating the Arizona Diamondbacks in 5 games. Gibby, were you surprised that the Diamondbacks, who you picked on this show last week to win the series, got eliminated so quickly?
Yeah, I am. First off, congratulations to the Texas Rangers. There's just something likable about that team. I'm a big Bochy fan and that coaching staff. And then they just got some hard-nosed players that just compete, At the time, I thought Arizona had too much pitching for him. I thought Texas Rangers, their bullpen would eventually come back to haunt them, and it didn't. Bochy worked a masterpiece there, getting the right guys in, and you know what? They just got caught up in everything's going good, and they were confident, But one thing Arizona's got, whether it's a starting rotation or even their bullpen, especially get down to the last three guys of the game. I mean, they're as good as any in baseball, right? And so I thought eventually that's got the surface, but it didn't. And then Texas, of course, goes off and wins all those road games, which is incredible. Yes. And I can even remember back when, the talk was they came to Toronto, and I think they're about even for 4-game set, right? And then they end up sweeping Toronto then and set them back in the right direction. Then they go to Cleveland from there, and they get swept a 3-game set. So, it's like it's really kind of a one of those years of the ups and downs, for the Rangers and their champs. It's like you can't explain things sometimes, so don't even try. But they got a great team worthy of a championship, and they got a great front office. Chris Young, Dayton Moore, nothing but great experience. Well deserved for the Texans.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Young is somebody that you're pretty familiar with, and he was, of course, a former Met. He's played around. He's obviously just watching the celebration and seeing how happy everybody was there. But he was the guy that brought in Bruce Bochy to manage the team. Tell us a little bit about Chris Young and how familiar are you personally with Bochy, and give us your opinion on both of those guys that are running that organization, one from the field, one in the front office.
Well, I don't know either one of them really well. I do know him. Boch, I spoke with him a few times, but I've always been a big fan. I played for him. I played against him. We were both in the Pacific Coast League. He was out in Las Vegas. I was in Albuquerque in 1988. We were both catchers. And we both got into coaching and managing, what have you. But I've just been a big fan of the way he does things and everything you hear about him, right? Chris Young, of course, competed against him when he was pitching in the big leagues. And another guy, impeccable reputation, right? And that's what's good to see. You get these guys, ex-player. He's also a Ivy Leaguer. And now he's running the front office. So he can draw from everything, right? He's smart. He understands the competition side on the field, and he's smart enough to know the analytics too. That's why they're going to be so successful. And then they brought in Dayton Moore, who was the architect behind the Kansas City Royals 15 and 16 teams, or 14, 15. And I work for him, and I know what a great baseball man he is. So they're doing everything right? And then they got the ownership that's, hey, you take the money, we want to win. And it's not always easy to do. We watched how the Mets, threw a lot of money at everything, and it doesn't always work out.
No.
But when you get the right people in place, you got a better shot. Put it that way.
Yeah, and it seems like long term, as you said, the ownership will spend. They'll be very competitive this offseason. So once again, as you said, Gibby, congratulations to the 2023 world champion Texas Rangers. Great World Series. And now, the hot stove league, Gibby, is heating up. Already. The biggest J story of the week, if you want to take a look at Whit Merrifield declining $18 million with the mutual option. So him declining that option, he gets a buyout from the Toronto Blue Jays of $500,000 as part of his deal. At his age, coming into his 35-year-old age for next season, do you think Whit made the right move not accepting that $18 million for 2024 heading into next year?
Yeah, I do. But, you never really know for sure. Everybody gambles on themselves, or teams gamble. And I think at this stage of his career, he's probably hoping to get a 2-3 year deal. You don't get that many opportunities. And if he could work that out, make more money than that 18, over there, then it pays off. And it's a good year for him. He had a good, strong year. He's up for the Silver Slugger, all that. So I think somebody will pay him. Hey, Whit's he's a winner. He makes things happen. He's a baseball player. They don't always get the recognition they deserve nowadays because everything's it's a slugfest and a strikeout. And he'll hit his home runs now, but he can steal some bases. He's going to put the ball in play. They won many games with some great at bats out of him. So, and he's one of the good guys, so we're rooting for him. So you just hope it works out for the best.
Yeah, absolutely. Hate to see him depart from the Blue Jays, but you never know what could happen in the offseason. You decline an option, then the team comes back, and who knows what's going to happen. I mean, that's the fun of the offseason as well, because it just keeps everybody on edge, and will be that way until spring training, until the team is finalized. And following up on Merrifield, he was the only Blue Jay chosen as a Silver Slugger finalist for this year in the utility man position. Bo Bichette, surprisingly, was not nominated in the shortstop category. J.P. Crawford of Seattle, Corey Seager of the world champion Rangers, and Bobby Whit, Jr. of Kansas City were the finalists. You think Bo got dissed on this deal here, not being nominated?
Oh, no doubt about it. He had a great year. And of course, you got Bobby Wood Jr. and Seager. They got to be on that list. But, but Crawford, I know he had a good year, but he didn't have a Bo Bichette type year, in my opinion. I don't know how they set all that up and who they nominate and this and that, but there's no question Bo should have been on there. You're not going to find a better hitter. He had a big year. He had, a couple of times injuries set him back a little bit as far as how really big his year might have been. But yeah, he deserved better than that. That's for damn sure.
Absolutely agree. This week, aside from Merrifield declining the mutual option, third baseman Matt Chapman, center fielder Kevin Kiermaier, right-handed reliever Jordan Hicks, and the left-handed starter Ryu all filed for free agency as expected. Gibby, if you're the Jays, do you try to bring any of these guys back, or you kind of simply move on and retool the team?
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody that in that group that they have to have. They can fill the holes somewhere. I mean, they got a really good bullpen, so I don't. They may bring Hicks back, but I don't know if it's a necessity in the.
And he may want to be a starter again anyway, Hicks. He would like to be a starter. That's what we're hearing. Oh,
okay. Well, yeah, I didn't know that. But, yeah, hey, see what happens there. But Chapman, he's going to test the free agency. He's got Boris, in the plus I think, I don't know what their thinking is, but, with Davis Schneider, Biggio, maybe it's time to give those guys those at-bats in second and third, what have you. And the big focus of the heat they've been taking is they need to bring in more offense. So those may be the positions or they can go out and sign somebody that they can get a little more offense they're hoping out of anyway. So they're still, the Blue Jays are going to field a good team next year. And, it should be another playoff team. Well, we can't forget, as distraught as everybody is, they got eliminated the last couple of years in the first round. The team that's been talked about, the talk of baseball for the last couple of years too, the Atlanta Braves, they got bounced in their first round games. So really, is there any difference other than, because everybody had a good enough year to get to the playoffs. So I guess it's all perspective, how you look at it. But I think the Braves probably a little more disappointing than you could say than the Blue Jays were.
Hey, as we say, hope springs eternal, and we are into an off season now, which is going to prove to be interesting as the teams go out there and go after these free agents. There's the trade market that's going to happen, so we'll be following all of that closely here. You are listening to the Gibby Show, presented by our friends at Miller Lite. And Gibby, the light beer that always tastes like a real beer. You're both, you and I always talk about the Miller Lights here on this podcast.
We partake.
We do partake. Anytime is Miller time. We're so happy that for this season they've been aboard with us as a sponsor and inspiring in the roast and toast. So great folks there. Now
we just got to have a couple with watching football. That's all. Either college or pro.
You transition to the Sunday or the Monday night games
or Saturday afternoon.
You open up your Miller Lights, because anytime is Miller time, the official beer of Major League Baseball, and of course, the official beer right here at the Gibby Show.
Corner booths, sticky floors, weekdays that feel like weekends. You never forget the way some things taste. Miller Lite. Great taste, 90 calories. Tastes like Miller time.
Gibby, let's discuss the hot rumors of the week. I mean, there's so many floating around right now, so let's get right into it. There have been reports by one of the top baseball insiders, USA Today's Bob Nightingale, reported this week that the Blue Jays are one of the handful of teams expected to open the vault. Now, there's going to be a lot of interest in this guy, Shohei Ohtani, but Nightingale reports that the Jays are going to be one of those handful of teams that are going to open the vault up for this guy. Other teams rumored to be all in to get him at any cost in a bidding war include the Dodgers, Mets, Yankees, Red Sox, Cubs, Padres, Mariners, and Rangers. Where do you think Ohtani eventually lands, and does Toronto have a legit shot to possibly bring him in?
Well, they got the money for it. There's no doubt about it. I think he ends up on the West Coast, where he, probably with the Dodgers, be my guess. Early in the season, I thought Seattle might be a good spot. I don't know if they got the money to pay for him, but they should. All these teams have the money to pay for him. Are they willing to do it? Now, there's a wrench been thrown into it all, with the Tommy John.
Yeah.
He's not going to pitch. And so it's kind of softened some of that. But when I was still managing the Blue Jays, I don't know if it was going into the 18th season or something, whatever his first year coming over was. Mm-hmm. I got a call from Ross Atkins and said, "Hey, listen, we made the cut, or we're on Ohtani's list of possible one of his teams." Of course, they're trying to drum up the competition back then. And he said, "Listen, I think I was out in Utah on vacation." And he said, "Listen, if we make the final cut, I think there's maybe 4 or 5 teams that he was going to narrow it down to, whatever it was." And so you're going to have to fly out in California. We'll meet you out there, and we're going to sit down with him and his agents and talk about it. So I said, okay. I'm not sure what year whatever his first year was. But I got a call the next day from Ross and said, "No, we didn't make the final cut, so no need to do that." I said, "Well, thank God, man. I don't have to cut my vacation short, for crying out loud." Could have used him though them last couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, well, we'll see. That's gonna be interesting to see. I mean, but $50 million is kind of like the starting point for this guy. $50 million a year. I mean,
I tell you what, it's professional sports is unbelievable. Kind of a little bit out of control.
Yes.
But hey, all the power to you if you can get it. But and then you go and you have this, get close. In the past, you have these work stoppages, and you get close to them, like the last one, and the owners are all crying poverty, and yet then the salaries just keep going up and up and up. So you just wish everybody would shoot you straight and say, "Yeah, we're going to sign this guy for this amount. We have the money to do it. Come clean."
Yeah.
And
then it'll cost $75 a game to park your car.
Oh yeah.
$40 for a hot dog.
Dude, it's like the middle class. The middle class always suffers.
Yeah, it's crazy. Going to another hot rumor from Nightingale from the USA Today. It revolves Cody Bellinger, and his reporting is saying that the Jays are looking to acquire the free agent center fielder. If you were Ross Atkins, do you make a big play for Bellinger at this time?
Yeah, I like that move. There's no doubt about it. A real big bounce back year for him. Of course, he got off to a great start with the Dodgers, and he struggled, and then everything came back together for him with the Cubbies. I don't know how the Cubbies can't re-sign him, but I think that would be a great target for the Blue Jays. And remember, the Blue Jays got a good team. Now, if you can add some key pieces, especially from the offensive side, they have everything else they need.
Yeah,
they've got to be on it, right? And not only because it's smart and could do wonders for them. It's the public perception is breathing down you now, and so you have to do something.
Got to make a big move, and he's still a young guy. I believe he's just 28 years old. So that's going to be interesting to watch that unfold. And of course, we'll continue to cover all of that stuff right here on the Gibby Show. And that will wrap up the leadoff. And now it's time for Gabbing with Gibby, brought to you by Tim Hortons. For more than 25 years, Tim Hortons guests have come to know and love Tim Hortons' annual Smile Cookie campaign. Now, to celebrate the gift of kindness and to help make a difference this holiday season, Tim Hortons is launching its first ever national Holiday Smile Cookie campaign. From November 13th to the 19th, 100% of the proceeds from each Holiday Smile cookie sold will be donated directly to local charities and community groups across Canada, including Tim Hortons Foundation camps. The Tim Horton Holiday Smile Cookie has a base of white chocolate sugar cookie infused with red and green sprinkles, all while being adorned with white icing to form the iconic Smile Cookie smile. Sounds like a winner.
Hey, you know what, John? Tim Hortons always doing something good for the community. You know, they're so conscious of that, and so get out there and help contribute, people. You know, it only costs $1.50. I mean, that's not even a toonie. It's a loony and a half, right? Gosh, you don't even have to break out paper money to get you one. Yeah, it's hey, we salute Tim Hortons. You know what? They, like I said, they're big in the community. They have their values on, always focused on the right thing. So go get you some cookies.
Exactly. And we're so happy to have him here with us at the Gibby Show week after week. So now let's go right to Gabbing with Gibby. Today on Gabbing with Gibby, brought to you by Tim Hortons, we bring on a former member of the Toronto Blue Jays in his illustrious career, which started in Toronto in 2002. He was a switch hitter, played second base for the Jays, also with the Arizona Diamondbacks, Los Angeles Dodgers, Minnesota Twins, San Diego Padres, and Chicago White Sox, retiring after the 2012 season. A two-time All-Star, four-time Gold Glover, and he hit for the cycle in the Dodgers home opener before a record crowd of 57,099 people on April the 13th, 2009. Today he works in player development for the National League champion Arizona Diamondbacks, and he's got his own clothing line as well. It's our pleasure to bring on this week's Gabbing with Gibby guest, Orlando Hudson. Orlando, great to meet you, man.
Mr. John, man, great to meet you too, brother. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Hey, sir, if we woke you up, man, you look like you're still laying in bed there.
Hey, brother, let me tell you something, baby. I done got my workout in. 4:30 every morning, my feet hit the floor. Every morning, Gibby. Every morning.
You're like
4:30 a.m. Yes, sir.
You're like Kobe Bryant.
Hey, 4:30 every morning, my feet up. And I wake the whole house up. When I'm up, when the dog up, everybody up.
Why doesn't that surprise me? It really doesn't, man. You know what? Hey, aside from you, one of my favorite individuals ever. You know what? Nobody worked harder. You had great discipline, which I think a lot of players miss these days. You always had that, and hence your success you've had in this game. But we appreciate you coming on. We're going to talk a little bit about your career and what you're doing now, and your clothing, and you're working with the Diamondbacks. All right, Johnny.
Thanks, John. First question is, what do you remember most about your days in Canada and the Blue Jays and playing for Gibby?
You know what, man? Playing for Gibby was fun. You know, first of all, being in Canada, it's a whole different environment. You know, remember now, I'm a country boy from South Carolina. You know, so you got whites over here and you got blacks over here. I go to Toronto; it's a totally culture shock. You know, it was great. I remember calling my parents like, "You guys have to come to Toronto and look at what I'm seeing." And they're like, "What you mean? Like, you guys have to come to Toronto ASAP. You get white girl, black guy, Chinese guy, black girl, Russian girl, Asian, whatever the case may be." And it's a melting pot, but it was a beautiful thing because that's the way, you know, God insisted for all of us to love each other. But when you're in South Carolina, you don't have that type of atmosphere. You know, Gibby know what I'm talking about. I ain't got to dig that deep into it. So, but being in Toronto was great. Playing in Toronto was unbelievable. I thank God for me being able to start my career in Toronto, meeting the people that I met, being in a totally different country, our brotherly country, enjoying it. The fans were unbelievable, playing in the best division in baseball at that time, the AL East. They came for Gibby, you know, Gibby always, you know, join to the locker room.
Hey, man. Hey, I appreciate that, man. But guys like you, like I said earlier, made it easy. You know, I was new to managing the big leagues. That was my first go around, and so there was a lot of things I had to learn. Never lose sight of, hey, this is about the team. This is about the players. People come to see these players. It's not about the manager. And my job just to try to get the most out of you guys. And being first time on the job at the major league level, there's a lot of ups and downs. But guys like you, like I said, you show up every day. You bring your lunch pail, dude. You're one of those guys, and you do your work. Hence, that's why do you think you got 4 Gold Gloves? You worked a couple All-Star appearances. That's an incredible career.
Yeah,
because you worked at it. But hey, let me tell you, it wasn't everybody wasn't like that. Now they can make it tough on a manager too now.
Yeah, it can make it tough for the manager. I know some of the ones you're talking about right now, but that's not for me to say. And that stay where it is. But guys are different. Some guys just when they get there, they're like, okay, I made it. No, man, when you get there, you still gotta grind. You still got to, if you're in the shot, you got to grind, baby. That's every day, no matter what you're doing. Sports, education field, just everyday work. You got to grind if you want to make it.
Yeah, well, but you've always had that attitude, which is why you're successful in life. Yeah. It didn't have to be baseball, but whatever you were going to do, you're going to be successful because, and you learned that I take it at a young age. Your parents instilled that in you.
Man. Yes. Yeah, definitely. And my mom, my parents, I thank God for my parents, my grandma, my grandparents, my uncles, man, they every day, it's nothing gonna be handed to you. So nothing is gonna be given to you. You have to go get it. And when you get it, don't stop there. Keep thriving to get more and where you want to be in life. That's where it is. Still is the way it is.
Yeah,
I put the same mold to my kids. I do the same thing to my kids. Just because you got it, go get it. Go get more. Go get what you want. Go get it. Legally, with hard work. Grind legally with hard work and go get it.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I was who was it? It was Shaq. I was reading something on Shaq a few weeks ago or something, and I think it was Shaq. Shaq said. He said his kid said, "Hey, we're rich, man." And Shaq said, "Hey," he said, "No, I'm rich. You ain't rich. Go out and get your own."
Exactly. I'm rich. You got rich. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm rich. You're not rich. Go get yours. You got to go get it. Don't get me wrong. Daddy will back you up a little bit, but you got to have that mentality because Daddy gonna one day have his back. Gonna have his hands across his chest and looking up at the roof of the church. Then what?
Right?
Yeah. You gotta go get it.
Hey, I can't let this slip by today because four-time Gold Glove winner, right?
Yeah.
Who was your personal fungo hitter in Toronto?
Oh, sorry about it, Gibby. Look at you. You gotta let it go. Give me some ground ball. Here we go. Hold on, I'm gonna get a little ground ball. Maybe move your feet here, kid. Come on, move your feet a little bit.
No, I didn't show you how to do it. I just hit him, man.
No. I said you hit him. Here you go, old dog. Here we go. Here we get a few ground balls here. But no, Gibby hit my phone goal. Hey, I tell you what though, and before I'm glad you on that. Brian Butterfield, who was our third base coach at the time, he showed me so many little things about second base and around the bag that it made defense that much more easy for me. If it wasn't for Brian Butterfield, I wouldn't have won Gold Gloves. Brian Butterfield is, and no disrespect to Bone. I know Bone, he was the Marlins first base coach, now he's in Seattle. They are similar. Bone and Butterfield are similar. But I played for Butter. The things that Butterfield teaches and says and the little things that he pays detail to made my defensive career, it took it to a whole different level. And then I got you hitting me ground balls, going back and forth like I was Kuda Kente running through the doggone tobacco field.
Dude, I wasn't very good with that fungo, man. I couldn't hit anything right at you, man. I had no idea where that ball was going.
But guess what, though? It got my feet moving. It got me loose, and I loved it. So Gibby hit me fungo all the time, guys. He really did.
So I'm trying to take take the claim, take credit for his 4 Gold Gloves.
Yeah, you did. You go. Gibby get you. If you can take ground balls and if you got flat feet, I tell you what, Gibby will get your feet moving.
All right. On that note, okay. Now now you're working with the Arizona Diamondbacks, right? You were talking about earlier about the infielders and all that, and you taking what you've learned in a great career.
Yeah.
And you got some good young talent, right? How's that gone?
Yes,
Is that how long you been doing that? When did you start doing that?
Man, 2000 and I think 14. Dave Stewart and Tony Lucia gave me a call to ask me would I come do it, and and then I sat down with Derek Hall and had a talk. So I was special assistant to the GM with them, and kind of similar to things I do now, but I still do it. I love working with the young bucks though. I just don't do just the big league guys. I don't do that. I go all the way to DSL, Dominican Summer League, all the way up to AAA. I show love to everybody. I always think it won't be fair if I just stick with the big leaguers. That's not
you, exactly. The fact that you go to all the levels. A lot of guys that had your career don't do that or don't want to do that, right? But
listen, Gibby, I'm not going after that, man. But
I'm going to tell you, dude. Oh yeah.
Introducing Tim's new Holiday Smile Cookie. 100% of proceeds support local charities, community groups, and Tim's campers in your neighborhood. Buy a Holiday Smile Cookie at Tim's to give back to your community.
Dude, man, I'm so proud of you, man. When do you do any motivation? Do you do any motivational speaking?
A lot. Get it. I got to do one at Coca College here in South Carolina. I got to go to Morehouse College in Atlanta in January. I think I'll have to do something when I go to Belgium during the Christmas holidays. I leave on the 26th and I get back on the 31st. I would do one in Belgium. I do one for our own organization every spring. Yeah, man, I do quite a few churches. I do quite a few groups. I got to go to Virginia. December the 21st or 22nd, I got to do one there. I'm always doing motivational speakers. Yeah.
What are you doing going over to Belgium, man? Is it a vacation too, or what?
Well, no. First of all, my son got invited to play over there against the best of Belgium. He was trying to get some NBA type guys over there. So him and one other guy, his team, or his post-grad team, got invited to play over there for 4 days in front of NBA scouts, college scouts, and all that. So they got invited to play over there. So we're going to fly over there for those 4 days. And then I was happy to talk to one of my guys from Slovakia. And I was telling him, he was happy to call me during that time. And I was talking to him about it. He said, oh, you're going to, I said, yeah, let me call my guys from Belgium. I want you to give the speech like you gave us when you came to Slovakia a few years ago. And I said, hey, I ain't got no problem with that. So they made it happen. And also I do one every July in Myrtle Beach for Cal Ripken for his travel ball tournament. It'd be about 75 to 100 coaches there. I didn't do it this year because I was in Arizona, but I did it for the last 5 years there. Mm-hmm.
Hey, you are worldwide, man. You're worldwide,
man. No, I'm trying to beat out my boy Gibby. Oh, dog, go get a little bit of something. Go tell him.
Hey, when you're speaking over there, do you have an interpreter? Or what do they speak?
No, Slovakian. They speak it, but a lot of them spoke English.
Oh, they did?
Everywhere you go, a lot of them spoke English. So then the few that didn't speak English, they had my guy that called me over there. He interpreted for me for the ones that didn't. But 90% of them knew English better than me and you.
Okay.
Because me and you don't speak English.
See, I'm not worldwide. I'm Texan, bro. That's my bad for not knowing that. Hey, Johnny, what do you got? You got him?
Well, I'm digging this conversation for sure. You guys it's awesome to hear you both reminisce and talk. But I do want to talk to you, Orlando, about the World Series is over. You guys were in it. It's a great World Series. I mean, but based on what you're saying, I mean, you're traveling from the low minor leagues, Dominican Republic, AAA. So you're getting to see kind of the foundation or the guys that are up and coming. A question for you, even though it was a disappointment not winning the series, as we head into the offseason. It seems like the team, the Diamondbacks, are kind of poised for long-term success. What can you tell us about that and some of the hot young guys coming up for the organization?
Well, first of all, let me give respect and give props to my GM, Mike Hazen. You talking about matter of fact, I played against our GM in 1998, man. He was in Idaho Falls, and I was in Medicine Hat, Canada. We both was in rookie ball, and he would tell you that, yeah, he had a higher batting average than me that year. He always joke about that. But anyway, Mike Hazen is such an intelligent guy. And I'm not just talking about that. I know when people say, oh, man, they Ivy League guys and they're intelligent about school. No. I'm talking about intelligent about the game of baseball. And from what this guy endured, this guy lost his best friend last year. He lost his soulmate. He lost his wife. And not one time did this guy complain. We got players, and I'm not just talking about us. I'm talking about players in general, across the board, whatever sport. Complaining about money, about what they don't have. You talking about a guy who made a promise before Jesus to love his wife every day with 4 beautiful kids, and he lost her. And he came to work every day like nothing happened because he understood I'm still a leader of this organization. Now, mind you, he got duties at home. He got 4 kids at home. And he's at the ballpark every day, 4:30 to 5 o'clock, getting the workout in, going home, checking on his loved ones, going to see about his lovely wife, who was such a beautiful person. I had the honor of meeting her, such a beautiful young lady. And then she was taken away. And not one time did he complain about one iota. We was losing. We wasn't playing well. And he never complained. So I got to give props to him. And for him to stick it out, hold on to what he believed in, got his organization together, and he built a World Series championship team. Though we fell short to another great team in Texas, which I got to give props to Boche and his boys. There's a great ball club. Nobody saw us here. Now, you may think I'm crazy for saying this, but I saw us making a deep playoff run 2 years ago, and I told our owner, Ken Kendrick, that. I said, you give me 2 years, big dog. Give me 2 years, because you don't get a chance to see what I see. I go from DSL up to the big leagues. So you don't get to see what I see. But if you give me 2 years, I promise you, all 4 of your pockets will be full of $100 bills. I kind of made it in like that because he was a little upset. Which every owner got a right to be because we was losing, right? But we was losing at that time, and I told him that. I said, you give me 2 years and we'd be deep in the playoffs. I didn't think we would be in the World Series. I said deep in the playoffs. And I told AJ that. And, you know, from what he's come along with and what he's done to build this team, and we got more coming. I'm going to tell you right now, we got some dogs coming, Gibby. We got some more dogs coming.
Oh, yeah.
We ain't finished yet. Add on to what we have. And I said it in Toronto this year. I flew out to Toronto with the big league team when we played the Blue Jays this year. I said, don't be surprised in a couple of years, it'll be the D-backs versus the Blue Jays in the World Series. Don't be surprised.
I think we'd all like to see that, but
I see it.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Because I see the same talent, the type of talent in Toronto. You know what I'm saying? I see it. And our big league teams are pretty much equal together. We pretty much the same if you look at our ball clubs. So, and what we got coming and what those guys got coming, I can see that in a few years, us and the Blue Jays in the World Series. I can see it.
Yeah, I want to follow up on that. I mean, obviously the team was built, a lot of different parts, trade deadline acquisitions.
Yeah.
Guy like Tommy Pham coming in, you know, with his work ethic.
Yes.
Of course, Tommy.
Yeah.
So, but I do want to talk to you about last season. What is your take on the trade that brought Gabriel Moreno and Lourdes Gurriel Jr. to the D-backs from the Blue Jays for Dalton Varsho? Is it as one-sided as it currently appears? And the second part of that is how good is Moreno, and how good do you think he's going to be?
Well, let me tell you something. I was a little hurt when we got rid of Varsh. I'm not gonna kid you, because I love his work ethic. I love Varsh. I love what he brings to the table. He's versatile. You know, you could put him behind the dish. You could put him at second base. You could put him at a little bit of third. You could play him in center field. You could put him in right field. You can lead him off. You can bat him fifth. He can bunt. He can book you by going deep. He can do everything, right? So we traded him like, oh man. And I knew a little bit about Moreno, but I knew a lot more about Lourdes, right? So I'm like, okay, we're getting another guy that can bang with some pop, you know, play some outfield and bang a little bit. Okay, we good. But then the more I've heard about Marcelo, okay, I'm hearing great things, but I need to see it. But my goodness, when I saw it, I'm saying, okay, I started scratching my head. I said, you know what, Barstow, I'm going to miss you, but I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it has worked out well for us. And I'm not, and that part of the trade isn't over. Barstow, to me, still is an all-star type of player. He's going to click. It's going to click for him. And we saw stints of it in Arizona. You guys saw stints of it in Toronto. But Moreno, let me tell you something. My goodness, he can shut the run game down. Moreno was the truth, man. He takes his bats just as serious. He takes his pitching. He takes his calling ability just as serious. He takes his bats. The guy's an everyday guy. You talking about not Benji Molina, the Molina that played for the Cardinals. I forgot his first. Javier Molina.
Yadier.
Yeah, Yadier. Yeah, Yadier Molina.
Javier.
You see Yadier. Yadier Molina. I messed that up big time. I did. Yadier, excuse me. That's my fault. That's the Hall of Famer for sure. I'm not saying Gabbing gonna be a Hall of Famer. I hope he does in the same career. Pray he does. But you can see Yadier Molina all in Gabbin Moreno. You can see it in him. He can hit for power. He hits for average. He can take the ball and hit it where he wants to. He take what the pitcher gives him. If you poking him away, he'll shoot you to right field. If you're trying to pound him in, he keeps his hands and shoot you through the middle. If you make a mistake, he bumps you. If you got Carl Crawford or Mookie Betts, although Carl Crawford retired, or one of the guys like Mookie Betts on first base, and they're going to steal, he's going to throw you out. He's going to block. He's going to work hard. He's a great kid. He's coachable. The team loves him. And then we get Yardy on the back, Gurriel on the back end. On the other side of that, hitting four, he can hit fourth, fifth, or sixth. Plays a heck of a left field. He gonna bang for you. He gonna run the bases hard. He gonna have the wild hair. He brings a different mentality in the clubhouse. Dude, I appreciate Barshow's talent for us getting those two guys. Adding those two guys pushed our team over the edge. And then we added Tommy Pham to that. And it took us to another level. But having Moreno and Lourdes, I thank the Blue Jays organization for that. And I'm thankful that the trade was done. Although it doesn't mean that we disregard Barstow, because we actually drafted Barstow. We know what he brought to the table. But you're going to have some bits and pieces in your organization that you're going to give away to take your organization to the next level, right? And you're going to make the right trades, and that's what Mike Hazen done.
Before we let you go here, let's talk about you're doing the stuff with the Diamondbacks, but you also got a clothing line and all that. Tell us about that.
Well, you know what, man? Johnny Jones. You remember Johnny Jones? He can bang.
Yeah.
Johnny Jones, Devil Reeves. Yeah, Johnny Jones. So Jones, every time I did a speaking, with Arizona, because he used to work for us too. So every time I did a speaking, he was always saying, "Oh, God, you got to grind and shine." He would always say that. But even though I heard it before, but Gomes used to say it all the time, and I stuck with it. And I said, you know what? You do. You gotta grind to shine. I know a lot of guys want to give it to them. And no disrespect to high schoolers or college guys who get 8, 9, 10 million out of school. No disrespect to those guys. I'm glad they get their money. Glad. But we also hear the flip side. People saying, well, you hadn't done them yet, which is true. But you pay those kids to what we predict and what they're gonna do.
Right.
Not from what they did, but from what we see them going to do. But I always tell the kids, you gotta grind to shine. You want it. You want all the watches and the cars and the nice house. You want your mom to live good, your grandma to live good. There is no owner just gonna write you $10 million just to say you look good. No, brother. You gotta grind between these lines. If you want to shine, if you want the final things in life, and you want to live a comfortable life, that God already blessed you with the talent, right? He gave you the talent. Now you got to go grind to shine.
So you got a website people can go to if they are. Is there a website?
Yeah, I just sent it to you. So you put it on your, that's the website I sent it to you so they can go on there and look at that stuff. Yeah, I got hats, sweaters, because it get cold in Toronto. I got hoodies, I got jogging pants, short, they got all that. Yes.
Dude,
for little kids and the grown-ups.
Yeah, well, you got it all together, man. Gosh, dog, that doesn't surprise me one bit. Well, Johnny, you got anything left, Johnny, before we let him wrap it up? He's got to go to work. He's got to go grind, man. He's got to go grind to shine.
No, I'm good. This has been a pleasure for me, just getting to talk to you, Orlando, and doing some great things. And congratulations on such a great season.
Man, I appreciate it. We're not done yet. We're going to keep grinding. Also, everybody looking to make changes, and congrats again to Texas and Bochy and the boys over there who had a heck of a run too. And it's also good for baseball to see 2 wild card teams playing the World Series.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that was great for the game. Yeah.
Hey, listen, old dog. Listen, hey, we can't thank you enough, man. Hey, I sure am proud of you. You know what?
Thank you, for all the great times and everything.
Yeah, you know what? I knew. Hey, it didn't matter what you were going to. You were going to be a success in life. You're saying all the right things. You're helping not only professional athletes but young kids all around the world. You know what? That's what life's all about.
That wraps up another Gabbing with Gibby. Orlando is a very interesting guy. What a spirit that he has.
Yeah, you know what, John? He's always been one of the good guys. You could tell from he wasn't a high draft pick, right? So he had his work cut out for him, but he got there. But he's always focused on the right things. You could hear him talk. That nobody's going to hand anything to you. You got to work for things. You got to grind to shine, man. That's his thing. I got to get me one of those T-shirts, But it's so it doesn't surprise me, the success he's had, not only as a player, 2-time All-Star, 4-time Gold Glove, but in life, and I guarantee his kids are going to turn out just right. But he's one of the good guys, and you know what? He always makes you smile. He's fun. I don't know if people listening are going to be able to understand either one of us. We both start, we were competing for that, but I got it. He Toronto was lucky to have him for those few years, and I know as a manager, I was really lucky to have him on my team.
Very inspirational gentleman, and was so happy to be able to speak to him with you on Gabbing with Gibby. And now, inspired by our friends at Miller Lite, it's time for this week's Roast and Toast. Gibby, we'll start off with the roast. Something really interesting going on in San Diego right now. Not only did they have to get a loan of $50 million to help cover payroll towards the end of the season, which you got to scratch your head. But they made a move this week, which we really got to roast, I would think. The Padres assistant farm director, Mike Daly. Now, an assistant farm director is kind of like a low end, every position in baseball is fairly important, but this is kind of a lower level executive. He's been chosen to manage the team's AAA affiliate next season, according to the Athletic's Dennis Lynn. That's very unusual. And Gibby, I think for that alone, to not bring up somebody who's been working and toiling in the minors in every level like you did, managing rookie ball, A ball, double A, triple A, and then eventually getting to the majors. Mike Daly is going right to the triple A to manage the team. And for this, I think we got to roast it. We got to roast the Padres.
Yeah, you know what, Johnny? I don't understand it. I don't understand a lot of things in the game now. And he may be a very good executive. He's probably a great guy. He's been in the game a long time, but really no on-field experience other than front office. And to put him at your highest level, that to me that's kind of the analytics world way of thinking. It's all about numbers. It doesn't matter how
Great taste, 90 calories. Tastes like Miller time.
Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of the Gibby Show. For John Gibbons, this is John Arezzi. We'll be back next week to talk more baseball and the Hot Stove League and all the rumors, trade rumors, and everything else. So for John Gibbons, John Arezzi here. Have a great week, everyone.